What's up, Final fans? It's the Warrior of Hype, and my God, has the Crystal Hype blessed us this month. If you know what I'm saying, man, it has been a great time to be a Final Fantasy fan. As Yoshi-P, the producer of Final Fantasy 16, has done a bunch of interviews with media outlets, including Game Informer, GameSpot, IGN, and all the other ones that I've decided, you know what? I'm just going to compile that all into just one video in case you've already read them and you just want to share some hype with me, or maybe you haven't read them and you want to get your information from Final Fan TV. Hey, awesome, but the links to all of these interviews will be in the description, so please go check them out, especially this one by Wesley LeBlanc of Game Informer, which was my favorite read of all of the interviews because it's very comprehensive. Basically, to recap the Game Informer interview with Yoshi-P, Yoshi-P saying that he wanted to focus on action combat from the beginning. So this means you're going to be able to cycle through powerful attacks and abilities based off of traditional Final Fantasy in real time, which is something that we kind of gathered from the trailers anyway, but we know for sure that we're going to be able to do that, right? Overall design of icon versus icon battles are going to be different each time. One reminiscent of a 3D shooter, another is like a pro wrestling match. One transforms an entire battlefield. So regarding the UI that you're seeing on screen right now, looks like Yoshi-P, and this is my personal opinion, it wasn't included in the interview or anything, but my personal opinion is saying that I think he's aware of some of the feedback that they're getting on this UI based on what he's saying. But regarding the UI, they left it in because icon battles, they were a little confusing when you were playing them in real time. You didn't really know, so he said let's incorporate that, and then also with it changing each time there's an icon versus icon battle, like one being a straight up fighting game, you know, you get a more visual representation of what's going on. But I think him just addressing the UI situation, the user interface situation, has me thinking he's aware of it, and the next time we see it, I think it's going to be better off. And speaking of the next time we see Final Fantasy 16, the third trailer is already in the works and due out this fall. So it will concentrate on the world and story of Final Fantasy 16. And another key thing to touch on was he wanted to recapture the feeling of Final Fantasy being different with each new entry. And he said that research showed that fans felt the series had become static in that vision. So just something to throw out there. And then let's just jump on over to the next interview, which is GameSpot by Timur Hussain, which, by the way, I love Timur from Kind of Funny. Awesome. And he does a great job with this interview here. This is saying, Yoshi-P saying that Shiva and Titan battle from the trailer is not playable, but Clive will be experiencing that battle from a different perspective. Which I can only imagine that he's on the battlefield with all, you know, look like what you're seeing on screen right now, right? You're looking up at this massive kaiju battle going on between Shiva and Titan, and you're in the middle of a combat situation. It's going to be so freaking cool. I cannot wait. The scale of this game is going to be epic. Also wants to go ahead and say that later in that trailer, the fight against Titan is in real time, and that was in the second trailer, not the one that you're seeing on screen now. And what we've seen is a very, very small part of that battle, because each icon versus icon battle is going to be multiple phases that change in real time. So the one thing that he really wanted to do, and sorry, what you're hearing right now is actually Alex Mukala. Amazing, by the way. Just kind of wanted to do that. We're going back to the Pierce the Heavens, which is his imagining of what a boss battle would sound like in Final Fantasy 16. If you want to listen to that, it's on all streaming services. Anyways, we're back to the recap. But yeah, it's going to take place across multiple phases that are going to change in real time, and he wants players to think, I can't believe what I'm seeing, right? I can't believe you created something so crazy. So, dude, I'm telling you, please go read all of these interviews if you haven't already, because it's gotten me so excited for this game. I'm telling you, the hype for this game is unreal right now. And this is just text. Like, it wasn't even a trailer that they released. The text that they released, I think it was Night Sky Prince, that said that I think this was more hype than the trailers. And honestly, I got to agree. But yeah, I mean, there are times that Clive will encounter icons as human, as a human size, which is going to be awesome. The themes of Final Fantasy VII, or I'm sorry, excuse me, Final Fantasy 16 are the clash of values and ideas. So what is truly right and what is truly wrong? So these darker themes when it comes to how people should live. You know, you live the life chosen for you, or you break free of that destiny. Those are the themes of Final Fantasy 16, and he's working really hard to make Final Fantasy 16 a complete experience, which means there's going to be no other content, no other media that you're going to have to consume in order to get the full experience of Final Fantasy 16. So that's really exciting for, you know, a lot of fans, I'm sure, especially with Final Fantasy 15 having the, you know, you had to watch a movie, and then Final Fantasy 7 with Remake having the whole compilation and everything. I think this is really cool, a self-contained experience. Also, another really cool thing that was in this interview, Yoshi-P saying that the story progresses with multiple time jumps. Now, we knew that Clive was going to be in his teens, and then we knew he was going to be in his 20s, but he's also confirmed that another in his 30s. So this is going to be that coming of age story, which has me excited because, like, man, that's checking all my boxes, right? Like, I love a good coming of age story. That's what I did like that about Final Fantasy 15. I love that. I love seeing a character grow in a story, not only through a character arc, but I love seeing it represented visually on the character, right? So like even 15 just giving Noctis a beard, right? You know what I mean? Like just changing the look a little bit to feel like he's matured throughout the story. I say this about like Jack and Daxter trilogy. That I love that, right? So over the course of that trilogy, you see Jack go from like his teens to his, you know, his 20s and blah blah blah. So that's what I'm really excited about for this game, is it's going to take place over the course of Clive in his teens, 20s, and 30s, and they're going to be pursuing an M rating, so they can tell this mature story without feeling restricted. That's fantastic. Also, kind of want to jump into. Let's jump into the IGN interview by Kat Bailey. So for this one, basically the key points that I picked out of it was that Clive will be accompanied by one or more companions for most of his journey. So this was a point of contention with a lot of people. We haven't seen Party throughout the trailers, and to have that confirmed right now that Clive will be accompanied by companions, that's really great things. But they will participate in battle as AI driven, meaning that the player will focus solely on Clive, which is fine, right? That's cool with me. How about you guys? Are you cool with that? Let me know. Does it make you feel better that there's going to be some companions to join you on the journey? It kind of makes me feel better. And then let me start this over. I'm just going to keep this going. We got a couple more things to go through, and then we're going to wrap this video up. But thanks for watching this so far. I hope you're excited like I am. All right, so companions are going to be with you. They're AI driven. He wanted the feel of the story to be on a truly global scale. All right, so that makes 1.5 videos that I've done completely irrelevant, but if you watched them, I guess they're fun now. The Assassin's Creed one, it's just fun to watch, but hey, it's irrelevant now. This is going to be open areas. So there you go. It's confirmed. That's what I love about Yoshi-P, guys. He's open, transparent, and communicates. This is great answers to our questions right now. It is not open world, and it's area based, and you're going to have a party, but you're solely focused on Clive. Also kind of touches on the puppy from the first trailer, and its name is Torgol, and he's more of a wolf than a dog. May even join Clive on his journey, so that's pretty cool. Those were my takeaways from the IGN interview. Please go read it. Again, I'm not giving you the full interview, so go check out these interviews and the articles, the links in the description and stuff. So, the PlayStation blog by Justin Massengill. We got Yoshi-P acknowledging that the core elements of Final Fantasy are deep stories, deep gameplay, cutting-edge graphics, and sound, as well as chocobos and Moogles. Which, wait a second, Moogles confirmed for Final Fantasy 16? I mean, he just said that it was a key staple of Final Fantasy. So maybe, I don't know. He didn't say it was confirmed, but maybe. Currently fine-tuning difficulty levels as well as final touches on cutscenes and debugging. And then the PS5 has allowed for richer graphics, super fast loading times, and jumping from cutscenes to real-time battles and back again without any loading times. Those were his favorite things about working with the PlayStation 5. Now we're going to jump over to press start interview by Kirian Verbrugge. I'm so sorry. Verbrugge. Kirian Verbrugge. And let's start this. Let's go with a different trailer. I'm saying this is only footage we got, folks. We're going to use it. All right. Then Square Enix blog by Duncan Haney. This is a great one. You know, straight to Square Enix. You know, keeping it in the family with this interview. Comprehensive support system in place for players who aren't too confident with action games. So there you go. From the last interview, we had that it was. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Did I just skip the carry-on one? Yep, I sure did. Let's go back to press start by carry-on. Icons in Valisthea are comparable to weapons of mass destruction. Each nation has their own icons. The rules as to how and within who that icon awakens differs between them. So that is interesting. This was like the interview that gave us a little bit of that story nuggets, you know, and a little something to whet the appetite. The mother crystals are kind of like oil fields. The ether in these crystals have begun to dry up, causing tension between the nations. All right, so that sets the stage of Final Fantasy 16. And he also tells a pretty great story of how he was inspired by like these icon versus icon battles, and how he like it inspired him at a convention that was very crowded with two gigantic chocobo and Moogle balloons. So go check out that interview and enjoy that story. I thought it was cool. Now let's go to that Square Enix blog by Duncan Haney. So a comprehensive support system is in place for players who aren't too confident with action games. So here's my personal opinion here. We got the interview from before where they're saying that they're currently fine-tuning difficulty levels, as well as this one saying a comprehensive support system in place for players who aren't too confident with action games. That's basically me putting together two and two together that this is going to have difficulty options at the start of the game. I'm hoping, personally for myself, I'm hoping for a very challenging hard mode. And I mean, look at the combat. God, it looks so good. So that would be cool. Now back to the Yoshi-P interview here on Square Enix blog. The importance of Soken's musical style that inherits a lot from the father of Final Fantasy music, Nobu Uematsu. That's why Soken was so important to Yoshi-P, and I got to agree that's really cool. That's really cool to have him on board for this. We kind of knew it from the moment we heard that first trailer, though. All right, so now I want to kind of go over to Audrey, who translated some interviews from the Famitsu interview. Now this is Audrey's translation of it from Twitter. So not related to 14 at all. So Yoshi-P clarifies that right away. It's not related to Final Fantasy 14, but may share some nuances between the two games because of the similar staff working on that. Phoenix choosing Joshua over Clive made him feel a bit inferior. So that's a little nugget for you. And then the rule of the land is that there should only be one icon of a single element. That's why everybody kind of goes crazy over seeing Freet when there should just be Phoenix of fire. And then Clive is on the hunt for the mysterious dark icon, which he has vowed revenge. More from Audrey, saying that once a dominant transforms into an icon, it's not impossible to turn back into a human. But there are risks involved. In some cases, turning into an icon might come with some sacrifices as well. So there you go. That's a recap of all of the interviews that at least all of the English interviews, the Japanese interviews I got from Audrey translating on her Twitter account, which is also in the description. Please go give her a follow. And there you go. I hope you enjoyed that. Because there was a whole lot of goodies in that. There's a whole lot of goodies, a lot of excitement. I'm excited. How about you guys? Now, now the hype for Final Fantasy 16, has it increased for you since reading or hearing all of this? It has for me. My biggest takeaways are that, hey, it's a rated M story, which is something that I'm ready for personally. I'm ready for a rated M Final Fantasy. They're not going to feel restricted. I honestly feel like Final Fantasy VII Remake should have been rated M. I would love to see a rated M cut of Final Fantasy VII Remake, by the way. That would be cool. But anyways, that's a different game, man. This is 16, and having it being rated M is great news for me. One of my concerns for that is that I hope that they don't just, like, this is rated M. Look right there, you saw blood popping off. So I'm glad that there is blood. There does seem to be some gore in there a little bit. But I hope they don't shy away from it, right? So Stranger of Paradise had the rated M tag on it, but it only had maybe one F word, and then the rest of it could have. It just didn't. They didn't do it, man. They didn't go all in. So go all in with that rated M. Also, I'm really happy to hear that you will have companions on the journey, so that's cool. And then I guess the other big takeaways is the epic scale of this game. So he was basically, if I could just summarize all of this, every interview, I would say that he was going for an epic, right? So in terms of scale, gameplay, story, music, he wants this to be an epic. Yoshi-P wants this to be, like he says, to quote him, a white knuckle roller coaster. And in every aspect of the game, I think he's delivering here, and I could not be more excited. And honestly, right now, it's weird for me to say, but I think I'm maybe more excited for Final Fantasy 16 than Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is very weird for me to say, and honestly, it felt weird coming out of my mouth right there. So, yeah, there you go. What are you more excited for? I mean, it's the answer of equal excitement is acceptable. So there you go, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hey, subscribe if you haven't already. That'd be cool. And until next time, Final fans, this is the Warrior of Hype signing off.